What's up, everybody? I'm Josh Meek, the Uber Geek. Welcome to Pretty Dece, your daily entertainment and pop culture show. We're going to jump into the world of movies today, and we're going to talk about the Cloverfield franchise. You might remember Cloverfield as the 2008 kind of found footage, sort of gonzo filmed movie that was about a monster attack, an alien invasion. And the whole premise of the film was that it was based around, as I said, found footage. So a camcorder someone had been filming from, they were filming at a party, and then this camcorder gets kind of carried around throughout the night as this attack happens, as they're going through this harrowing event. So you get to see all the footage get kind of messed up, you get to see the camera get dropped, and so on. It was a very kind of unique film at the time, and while it didn't get everything perfect, it was a super fun film. Now, I did say Cloverfield franchise there, and you might not know that Cloverfield was a franchise at all. I certainly can't blame you for having missed 2016's 10 Cloverfield Lane, or for not knowing that that is a movie that's technically in the Cloverfield universe. 10 Cloverfield Lane was a vastly different movie than the original Cloverfield. It was more of a psychological thriller that was set almost predominantly in a single set, in a small bunker. And the whole premise of the movie is this kind of this, character study. You don't know what's real. You don't know what people's actual motivations are. You don't know who's crazy and who isn't. And it is a really, really fascinating, really, really fun ride. That movie is set in the Cloverfield universe, kind of loosely based. If you've watched the movie, the end of the movie sort of makes that a bit more obvious, but you could see 10 Cloverfield Lane without knowing any of the connections to the original Cloverfield. And that's kind of what makes it so cool. You get a little bit more out of it if you do know that they are related, but they're perfectly standalone films as they are. We've known for a while that a movie called The God Particle, or just God Particle, is going to be, or possibly going to be, the third Cloverfield movie. And we know a little bit about that movie. So it apparently is possibly going to be called Cloverfield Station as the final name. And Netflix is rumored to have picked this up. So it was kind of in limbo for a little while. It seems like Netflix is going to be acquiring that film. And this movie is set on a space station. And the plot might have changed, but at one point early marketing materials talked about a team of astronauts that find themselves on the space station after an experiment has gone wrong. They are experimenting using a kind of particle accelerator, and Earth vanishes. And then suddenly a space shuttle appears and they have to survive whatever calamity occurs there. So again, we've now gone from, Earth found footage movie in a cellar all the way up to space. So again, loosely related, but this is going to be another movie in the Cloverfield universe, kind of set in that same world. These movies are really, really fascinating, and we have confirmation apparently this week from some sources that Cloverfield 4, the fourth movie in this loosely related universe, not only exists, but is finished filming, which is super fascinating. Much like the other Cloverfield movies, this is not really related to all of the rest of the franchise. The project is codenamed Overlord, and it's set in World War II. The premise being that there are supernatural forces at play as part of Nazi experiments, and some American paratroopers stumble upon this knowledge. And chaos ensues, horror ensues with these Nazi supernatural experiments. So a much different take than the other films in the franchise, but still you see how we could kind of relate all of the movies together in this kind of general Cloverfield universe. It's certainly very interesting, and I really like the concept of this Cloverfield world. All the movies have been produced by J.J. Abrams, and we haven't even seen the third movie yet, but I like the concept that they are this very loosely science fiction connected world, and all the movies are directed by, just up-and-coming directors, people who haven't done a ton but have something really interesting to say. So Dan Trachtenberg directed 10 Cloverfield Lane, who, I'm a big fan of his. He was actually one of the cast members of the Totally Rad Show, which was a podcast that I loved for years and years, who's gone on to direct commercials, and this was his kind of big first feature film. And then the original Cloverfield was directed by Matt Reeves, who hadn't really done a ton of films, but now is slated to direct the next Batman movie titled The Batman. So again, I really like kind of this series being a place where directors can sort of get their feet wet, do really experimentative things, all by being, produced by J.J. Abrams, getting kind of thrust into this limelight that they might not otherwise have gotten. And then this can be kind of a launch pad for their careers at large. Very, very cool stuff, and I'm really excited to see the third Cloverfield movie, and I'm definitely excited to see Cloverfield 4, which has finished filming. So we'll see what that is and how that ties in when we get some kind of marketing material about it. So that's going to do it for Pretty Dece for today. Thank you very much for joining me. Like Pretty Dece on Facebook, facebook.com/PrettyDeceShow. Follow me on Twitter @PrettyDeceShow and visit PrettyDeceShow.com. I'll be back tomorrow for another daily episode. In the meantime, make sure you subscribe on the YouTube channel, on the podcast, and in the Anchor app so you never miss any of the content.